Joining us with more on this impossibly busy week is John Heilemann, executive producer and co-host of The Circus on Showtime. John, it's great to have you on the set.
It is fabulous to be here. First time I've ever done this show, and I could not be more delighted.
Thank you for coming.
It's amazing.
So let's talk first about the travel ban, the latest on that. The executive branch and the judicial branch are in a direct opposition to one another. Right. The Trump White House has maintained a very defiant spirit in the wake of this ruling. Is this truly, though, the first crisis of President Trump's administration? Well,
I don't know about crisis, but it's a big deal, and it's a big. I think it's this will be cast as the courts stopping President Obama, judicial versus executive, and certainly that's the way that President Trump will do this. It's really more than that, though, right? This is the first real victory, however temporary, for the resistance broadly cast. This is a case that was backed by big corporations, by a lot of opponents of President Trump who represent millions of Americans, right? And people wondered how the resistance was going to try to stop President Trump. And people said, well, the courts will be one venue for that. And people had a hard time understanding what that meant. This is what that meant. And the administration is under legal siege on a variety of fronts. This is one of many lawsuits, not just on the travel ban, but on the emoluments clause. He's facing already dozens of lawsuits. We're 2 weeks in. This gives you an example of the ways in which the courts and the people that the courts represent in the form of plaintiffs, and there are lots of them, will try to stymie this very controversial administration going forward. And it's a big blow, just like symbolic and actual.
Right. As Paula Reed mentioned, Amazon, Microsoft, and Expedia all joined the lawsuit that upended this travel ban. Is the tech industry now part of this resistance?
It is, I think. I think, at this point. And this is just the tip of the iceberg, right? Because you've got companies, they came to Trump Tower, a lot of the representatives, and said, let's see if we can figure out a way to work with President Trump. And already now you have mounting opposition. These are the industries of the future, right?
Yes.
These are the places where jobs and innovation and the new economy come from. They are now almost very quickly forming a united front against this administration. And they're also talking already about, in the context of these immigration policies, about actually moving jobs out of the United States in order to find places where immigration policies are more liberal. We'll go to Vancouver. We'll go to Ireland. Yep. If that starts to happen, that's a huge problem, not just in terms of the economy, but also, again, in terms of how the administration tries to fulfill its biggest promise, making America great again.
Well, but what happened? I mean, with the new CBS polling shows that the travel ban has support among some parts of the country and is an anathema to other parts of the country. There's deep polarization here.
Yeah.
So for every piece of resistance, is there not a piece of support? And what does that mean for the administration as it tries to govern the entire country?
Well, it means that, look, I mean, we know that the polarization is the defining feature of our politics for the past 25 years, and it's gotten worse and worse. And this administration and this election that has put Donald Trump in the White House is the most polarized election. We are about to have the most polarized 4 years in the history of American politics. There are ardent supporters of President Trump out there. The biggest question for the administration is, do we try to transcend that? Do we try to broaden the base? Do we make politics about addition, not subtraction? Right now, so far, 2 weeks in, the president has mostly been playing to his base. And you can win some battles that way. But if you really want to score big wins, you got to build beyond the 46% of voters who put President Trump in office. So far, they don't seem interested in that.
If you want to know more about the psychology and the path of President Trump, you can always tune into the Showtime documentary that just came out yesterday evening. Is that correct, John?
Last night trumped inside the greatest political upset of all time.
It has been a fascinating year in politics.
It has. Well, and look, it's only January.
It's actually February, but by whose calendar, I don't know.
Oh my God, it's February. Wow.
That's John Heilemann for you.
That tells you a lot about where I am.
Thank you for joining the program.
Talk about fake news.
Thank you for your time, John Heilemann. Tomorrow morning on Face the Nation, right here on CBS, John Dickerson's guests will include Vice President Mike Pence and New Jersey Governor Chris Christie.